generational wealth is about packaging the values that have worked for you as a family and passing them on to the next generation.
Wow. In a relationship, it's a partnership.
Yeah.
You should provide your partner with the comfort that he needs to be able to actually give his best.
Yeah.
So I struggled to identify different role models as I was growing up.
It's not a competition.
Wow.
It's
Say
a
that again.
partnership.
Say that again.
It's not a competition. It's a partnership.
It's a partnership.
Welcome, viewers. This is your host, Joyce Gikunju, inspirational speaker, published author, and podcast show host. And this is the Bounce Back Podcast, your self-help business show for the entrepreneur in you.
I don't know if it's just my experience, but growing up, I noticed that teachers, though with little income, had big outcomes.
Yes.
What is it? Is it they're coming together? Is it because they used to have free weekends and holidays like children? What was it that made them successful even with their little incomes?
Most teachers are very grounded.
Okay.
And they are very real and realistic. Yeah. So they are not wannabes. Most teachers are not wannabes. You know, there is this theory in towns that you have to fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
It's the worst form of money philosophy.
Yes.
Teachers don't fake it.
Uh-huh.
So with your little income, you can plan your family, build a decent home, at home, get a bicycle
Yes.
to ride to school,
Yes.
and all you're getting, you're saving. So those who understand the best teacher, those who thrive, are those who have mastered that aspect of being real and have understood how money works. Then in your little space, you can actually thrive. And that's why I'm very proud of Ruth and the lesson she has captured there, that you can thrive wherever you are. And you know, sometimes we think success is in big money. No.
Yeah.
It's the discipline you develop with the small monies you get that cumulatively make you a success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way they say, mind the cents, the shillings will take care of themselves.
Exactly. And that's where most of us, we don't get to align ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Mwendwa. Let's go back to corporate. John Mwendwa is a corporate affairs director, and he says, "Hi, Joe. How are you keeping? So, just got round to reading the book this February, not December, as I had earlier planned. I am privileged to have read the book. The book reveals through your narration the man you became. It's inspiring, moving, and an authentic account of your life and plans. I want to buy 3 copies to give to my son, my brother, and my sister." I hope he got round to doing this.
He actually did it.
Yes.
And John has been we were together in college. He moved into corporate, went into HR. Now he's a corporate affairs director, succeeding in his own right. He bought the book in December. He had committed to us that he would read it during his December holidays. He procrastinated like many people, but eventually he got to read it.
Yes.
And I like the summary of how he has summarized the book.
Yeah.
It's authentic, it's real. And what I like about her the most is the fact that he feels that knowledge needs to be passed on to his family.
Yes.
His children and his sisters. So he bought the 3. He eventually came back and bought another 10 copies.
Wow.
To gift his colleagues.
Yes.
Because he said this is a book that must be read. So it's such kind of people who value knowledge. Those who value knowledge, when they read the book, they appreciate the amount of work and effort and the lessons shared and the insights, and they feel it should be spread across to the world. We need more of John, actually, to support the cause. Yeah.
What's coming through for me here is for John to have bought the book for his son, his brother, his sister, and the 10 other people he gifted.
Yeah.
For me, what I'm getting is you want to surround yourselves with people who share a similar mindset. You also do not want your sister and your brother to be left behind, because if they are left behind, you're the one who's going to pick up where they are falling short. So that's what I'm getting from John. I don't know if you know families where someone is doing so well and everybody else is behind and you're thinking, what happened? Same father, same mother. Could it be that he's trying to tag everybody else along?
Yes. You empower your system.
Yes.
Your whole circle of association.
Yes.
And it makes it, when you're all at the same level, then it makes conversations very easy. Even in family meetings.
Yes.
When you're talking about money and you all understand the subject of money, it becomes very easy. You all understand the struggles.
Yes.
But you say, no, let's be resilient. Push it through.
Yes.
It becomes an easy when you're all at the same level.
Yes.
And that's why I like his thinking. Because you have to empower your circle.
Yes.
Yeah, and the people close to you, starting with your family.
Yeah.
Then everything else becomes runs very harmoniously. Yes.
And something else, Joe, the thing about getting everybody in your circle to be on the same page also means that you are then going to surround yourself with people who are of like mind, meaning then that they say in success, you make sure, and this is something, I attended an alumni meeting recently, and having been in a national school, and I know you're also in a national school, we also check out who's doing where and who's doing well, and you tend to attract people of your level, or even smarter is attracting people who are at a higher level, so that you can pick their mind and see what it is they're doing, so that you can copy. And so I want to believe that if you surround yourself with people who are going to fill your cup, and another thing that I'm seeing people doing these days is choosing your neighbors.
Yeah.
You're intentional who you want to surround yourself with. So choosing your neighbors, choosing your circle. And in my alumni meeting, someone who really rose to the top of their game in this country said, we were advising the people in Loreto Limuru, and we were telling them, be very selfish who you surround yourself with, because you will become like the people you surround yourself with. She said, be very selfish. And she was very clear, like, I'm not mincing my words, because you become like the circle, the people you surround yourself with, church, neighborhood, family, unfortunately. So here is John saying, I want everyone to be on this level. So this thing of, the African mindset, doesn't it then mean that people now have realized that we pull each other along and not push each other down?
Yeah. It's true. It becomes easy to have this conversation. The whole aspect of choosing your friends is to minimize struggles.
Yes.
When you choose carefully who you want to relate with, you minimize the struggle, because people are busy. Everyone is busy with their own aspects of chasing money and investments. So people don't have time to start, training people, graduate and whatever. And that's why the easiest way to do is to gift somebody a book that impacted you.
Yes.
Yeah. If you read it and it had a good impact, and your wish for this person is to be at the level that you're at, the easiest way is to gift them the book.
Yeah.
Then they can read for themselves and challenge them to read. I've even seen people start book clubs.
Yes.
And you read and you come and share what you have learned from the book. It's a way of holding one another to account.
Yes.
Because people don't read. And sometimes we think reading is unnecessary because we are too busy. We don't have time to read. It's like saying, I'm running out of gas on my car, but I don't want to stop to fuel because I'm in a hurry.
Yes.
You have to keep on replenishing your knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah. Success is about lifelong learning.
Yeah.
And a lot more of the things that you will need to apply in your life.
Yes.
You will not learn them in school. school will give you technical and expert knowledge.
Yes.
The real lessons you need to thrive in life, you will not learn them in school.
Yeah.
You learn them in books. You learn them from people who have exemplified what you want to achieve.
Yes.
Yeah. You learn them in the world.
Yeah.
And you must create time to learn. You must be intentional about learning and reading.
Yes.
Yeah. So I like it when somebody says surround yourself with like-minded people. It makes the journey easier.
Yes.
But also, there are those of us who should be willing to sacrifice and say, I want to interact with those who have lesser knowledge so that I can lift them up. And I think that's where John is coming from, and say, these guys, I don't want to leave them behind.
Yes.
Let me give to them so that I can lift them up to the level that to be exposed to the same knowledge that I have.
Yeah.
And I think that's really impactful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people say that Africans don't push each other up. They don't help each other. Yeah.
But to be honest, especially when it comes to money, the conversations around money is complex.
Black tax.
It's complex. It's complex.
Yeah.
And that's why many people would rather do what they know and ignore everybody else.
Yeah.
But there are certain fundamentals that can be shared across and change someone's perspective. Those are the ones we have shared, and we hope it will create a spark in somebody.
So, now that we're having this conversation and you are a man, does ego get in the way of learning for men?
You know, someone said ego is the enemy.
Ego is a Ryan Holiday.
It does. It does. But you see, ego, again, is a question of lack of mastery. Ego problem is a problem of lack of self-mastery.
Yeah.
If you understand yourself,
Yes.
why you do what you do,
Yes.
why you have the habits, you adopt the habits that you acquire,
Yes.
why you believe what you believe. You know, these are things that we don't really question ourselves around.
Yet.
And why you know what you know. If you really know yourself, and I think in chapter 5, I shared some of the lessons that really kept me in leadership.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you see, ego, if you don't manage it in a position of power,
yes,
it can destroy you instantly. It's the same in your family. If you cannot manage your ego, you cannot create harmony.
Yes.
So I think the 3 things that I found powerful, especially in leadership, and I've also applied them in my family setup, is 1, humility.
Yes.
And humility comes with the knowledge of knowing that you don't know everything. You're a student of life. You're learning every day. Yeah. So you must stay humble. If you stay humble, you'll be willing to learn from those who know more than you, and you'll manage your ego. Then the second lesson is to manage your greed.
Yes.
Yeah, because when you're in positions of power and influence, the temptation is always to cut corners, to benefit yourself. How you manage your greed at that level, it will determine whether you succeed or not. And the third aspect is balance.
Yes.
In the old business and turmoil of running and chasing money and success and career growth, and investments and all that, how do you balance that with all the other important aspects that you want to achieve in life? And family comes in there. It doesn't shout so much. It can very easily be ignored because you're chasing money, success, and happiness. So family is the easiest to suffer. You must be intentional on balancing your aspect on family, on your own self. balance? How do you create time to refill, replenish?
Yes.
Self-care.
Yes.
How do you take care of you? Because if you don't do that and you're chasing and chasing and chasing, you burn out.
Yes.
And end up in depression and all these manner of problems. So all these things come into play when you're managing your ego and managing self. Yeah. And that's why Aristotle says, know thyself.
Know thyself.
Because when you know yourself, then you can easily plug in all these other spaces.
Yeah.
So that's the foundation.
I'm there, and I love what some of these things I didn't even need to change a thing. In chapter 5, you've called your chapter "Staying Grounded at the Top." Yes. This one, no unedited. Staying grounded at the top.
How do you stay grounded?
How do you stay grounded at the top? And I love the quote you chose for this chapter. John C. Maxwell, a Christian, successful entrepreneur, and he says, anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. Yes. So I love what you've chosen. And then
there are lots of leadership lessons there.
Yes.
For those who are in positions of management and leadership, but also applicable in the family context, because I say the family is the first corporate you manage.
Yes.
It's like managing a board. I love the the analogy. Yeah. So those lessons are applicable even if you narrow down to family setup as well.
Allow me to use one more, which I really love. I love Steve Covey. And he says that a leader is the one who climbs the tallest tree, surveys the entire situation, and yells, "Wrong Django!" Like,
wrong Django.
Get out.
Yes.
I really love
only a leader who can do that. Yes. Otherwise, you'll lead your flock,
astray.
To the drain.
Yes.
You must maintain that sanity.
Yes.
To rise above the business. And that's why I would say when you're managing a business, you have to be in the business and own the business. So that then you can rise and look down and say, are we in the right jungle in the first place? You can be moving very fast,
direction.
Towards the wrong jungle.
Yeah.
It's only the leader who can pick that up.
Only the leader.
Yeah.
Jacqueline Othiambo, a pharmaceuticals executive, says, this book, Life is Personal, was a great read. It is an inspiration to couples as it addresses how to manage relationships and finances while raising stable families. We're going to interview Liz on this. Joe's background is a testimony that regardless of our upbringing, and I'm sure he's talking about your rough start, with determination, focus, and hard work, we can all excel. Yeah. Do you want to say something about that, or do you want us to leave this one to...
I think we can leave. I've said that she summarizes the nutshell of the book.
Yeah.
And quite profound summary.
Yeah.
And it's the impact that everybody resonates with in the book.
Yeah. Elijah Mbigo, an entrepreneur, says, hello, bro. Your book elevates me every day. So he probably reads a nugget a day. God bless you. I know you are working on something bigger. Joe, is there another book? Because clearly, people are waiting. The tribe is hungry and they are asking, is there something else in store?
Who knows? Who knows? There may be another book in the offing or something even bigger. Because, life is about... life never stops.
Yeah.
At every stop, every moment in your life, you must be working on something.
Yes.
So he's right. And I like the fact that he says the book elevates him every day.
Yes.
In other words, he's using it as a reference point. So anytime he encounters a challenge and a low moment, he probably refers to the book. And he feels encouraged and elevated. It's quite profound. One sentence, but it carries all the weight in it.
Yeah.
And I know Elijah. I'm very proud of him.
Wow.
He uses that book as a reference.
Wow. So Juma Misiko, an online commenter, says that the book is rich in life's wisdom. One sentence, but a lot of weight. The book is rich in life's wisdom. In an age where there's an avalanche of information and little wisdom, because this is what I read all the time on social media. An avalanche of information, very little wisdom. What is your comment on Juma's comment?
Juma's comment is it is rich in wisdom. I think he captures a summary of all the lessons in there. And as I said, the lessons shared and insights shared are not random, and they are not fictional. They are grounded on experience, and also from people who have experienced similar situations. So there are people I've quoted in there, whom I learned from greatly. And I tapped into their wisdom and applied in my life. So it captures both authorities that have lived and achieved great successes, and how I have leveraged that knowledge and applied it in our situation and also achieved similar successes. So Juma is right to say it is rich in wisdom, because it's an accumulation of lessons gathered over time in my lifetime, but also in other great people's lifetimes that have experienced, in the past and have summarized their wisdom, and we have applied that into our context. So he's very right as well.
For me, Joe, when I remember our first interaction, I remember the thing that really struck me about you is the thing you say, and we pulled it out of the book, that you are people-made, not self-made. For me, that was profound, because before that, I used to read books and then I read things like, so-and-so is a self-made millionaire. And I used to think to myself, hold up, how are you self-made in a world surrounded by people? Did you operate in a vacuum? How do you call yourself self-made? So you said, I am people-made. And I said, that makes sense. Please make a comment about that.
I think it also speaks to, again, the ego. Because to be honest, my life, I had the desire and determination to succeed, but I would not have succeeded without the support of many people along the way. In school, education, I've shared the struggles I went through and the people who came through in very unexpected ways. Miraculous, if you want to say. And pulled me along. And I went through life the way I did. In career, the mentors, the people that, were willing to open up their space and teach me. I joined banking. I had no background in banking. I'm a trained teacher. I'm a maths and mathematics and business teacher. So I joined banking. I have no clue what banking is. But there were people willing to show you around. And with the determination, because again, you need it to push you through, you make it. But it's not your effort alone. So I rose to the top of banking, a CEO level. There were many shoulders, many giants on whose shoulders I had to step on to reach where I reached. So even when you reach the epitome, you can't say you made it. It was all your effort. There are many people that have come along the way, family, friends, colleagues that sacrificed to see you through. And that's why I say we are all people made. We need people to come along, but it doesn't change the fact that life is personal. You're the one with the passion, the desire, the dream you're pursuing. If you're clear with that, then everybody else will tag along to push you forward and propel you. But many people, unfortunately, live life aimlessly. They don't have a purpose. They don't have a mission. They don't have a goal.
Yes.
They just move along with everybody. And they become very easy to sway, delude along the way, get conned, because you don't know what you're really pursuing. So you fall for any scheme that comes your way.
Yeah.
And you end up in the wrong people. And and that's why starting with the goal, the mission, the purpose becomes very critical. Because then now you only attract the people that are aligned to what you want to achieve. You don't fall for everybody along.
Yes. That I love what you have said. That there is an alignment. Yeah. And you've just said something that has reminded me of your environment growing up, the people who used to call themselves safaras.
Yes.
Safaras. And I think I want you to speak about how you call to yourself what you want with the words that you use.
Very profound.
Yeah.
The words we use on ourselves determine, as you speak some of these words, your brain is sending signals to your body. And that's what people don't understand.
Yes.
That the word you speak about yourself has a great influence on the things you do, the things you believe, the actions you take, and how you turn out.
Yeah.
So it's very profound. So we grow up in... now I see a lot of people resonating with that, sitting at the base in the village. Because, when you're idle and hopeless, you have nothing else. So you console yourselves in that poverty and hopelessness.
Yeah.
And unless somebody outside comes in to jack your memory, you spiral down on that victimhood to a level where you end up being hopeless.
Yeah.
So yes, we grew up with boys. Many of them believed they were sufferers, and they're actually calling themselves sufferers. After my exposure, Nairobi school and all this, I went back and I said, no, we are not sufferers. We are conquerors.
Yes.
We can overcome these things.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a belief. So it starts like it's a talk that you tell yourself. Yes, we are down right now.
Yes,
but we can transform this. We just need to get the right formula, identify the right pathways.
Yes.
And we pursue and we succeed. But if you don't get people to work on their mindset, they end up being victims.
Yeah.
And end up living miserably. So a lot of people are living miserable lifestyles because they have not understood the power of the words they speak to themselves.
Yeah.
And that can be a whole subject that you talk. But yes, it turned out well for me. Eventually, I turned out a conqueror.
Yes.
As I predicted.
Yes.
And the rest of them, we meet them in the village when we go. I introduce my children and they're like, you were in school with these guys? You grew up with these guys. How did you turn out so differently?
Yes.
Yeah, my kids keep on asking.
Yes.
How did you turn out so? Yeah. But it's the whole system you build around
yourself.
Starting with your words, the words you speak.
Yes.
The beliefs you acquire along the way. I've shared a few limiting beliefs around money on chapter 9.
Yeah.
But even the whole beliefs about your belief system around life and perspective of life. You can change and I shared the story of the two twins who were born of a drunkard father.
Yes.
Raised up in the same family.
Yes.
Same environment. One turned out to be a drunkard like the father. The other one turned out very straight with a nice family. And when they were both interviewed, they said, I looked at my father. Yeah? So you can look at the same reference and deduce different learnings out.
Yes.
One looked at the father and saw a life they can model, become a drunkard like them, like the father, because that's all life is all about.
Yeah.
One looked at the father and said, no, I don't want to be like this guy.
Yeah.
There is a better way of living. And they chose a different path.
Yes.
So the choices you make and the perceptions you create also determine the kind of life that you turn out to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Imagine, same scenario, different deductions.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when your children ask you, Daddy, you went to school with these people, don't they also ask you, what did they do wrong?
Yeah, so it's a moment, when they ask those questions, it's a moment to actually coach.
A coaching moment.
Yes. It's a moment that presents itself. So you tell them what you went through and the lessons you have. And that's why they kept on saying you should write a book.
Wow.
Yes.
It was your kids.
Yes.
Ted, Will, and Mark.
So eventually I had I had a dream to write a book.
Yes.
But I wanted to write a book about leadership, the corporate stuff, strategy, and all this. But out of the conversations, I said we can actually write about the lives and the lessons we have gone through and share.
Yes.
And you never know. Somebody may learn something out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
These people, did they finish primary school?
Some did, some didn't.
So they all speak English?
No, some do, some don't.
Have you thought of taking a book to one of them or sitting with them and having a conversation with them?
Yes.
Yeah.
One of them actually turned out slightly better.
Yeah.
So he reads, he can read.
Yeah.
Although he's in TZ.
Yes.
I'll get him a book.
Yeah.
The rest, I think they are beyond.
They are beyond help.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the only thing I do is support their children.
Yes.
Yeah, because their children are some of the children we pay school fees for.
And they are showing promise.
Some are disappointing.
Okay.
Yeah, but you try. When you find yourself in that vicious cycle, it takes a lot of personal determination to stand out. And that's actually one of the reasons why we went back there.
Yes.
I told my, let's retire here.
Yes.
Let's build our home here.
Yes.
Let's live here. Let us be a reference point.
Yes.
Where people in the village can say, why don't you focus like
so and
Joe
so
and the family?
Yes.
So then you become a local role model that people can aspire. It's a journey, hoping eventually somebody will come and tell a story and say,
yes,
I watched Joe and his family.
On TV.
I learned from them and I turned out this way. That's how you change a village.
Yes.
Otherwise, if we all leave the village and retire in the cities, we perpetuate that circle.
Yeah.
That's a personal philosophy.
Yeah. And I love that you are doing something the new middle class are doing. You are enjoying something that is called location freedom.
Yes.
That you can live, you can have a home in the capital and you have a home in the country, and you're intentional about, balancing, appearing in both places and building networks in both the country and in the city.
And you choose where to be at what time.
Yes, that location.
It's the freedom.
Yes. And I think it reminds me of a place in the Bible that says that you will be successful in the country and you'll be successful in the city. Your success shall not be limited. That's what this new middle class is reminding me, that it is in the Bible that, your success is not limited to a place. So location freedom is actually something found in the good
and you see book. Both worlds offer different perspectives.
Yes.
The city is good. It's good to have a home. The village has its own therapeutic environment that you every time you go there, you feel like you don't have to leave.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's good to experience both worlds. And I think that's where the location freedom comes in. So that you don't overstay in one area, you have options.
Yeah. I want to talk about someone in the banking industry, Apollo Njoroge, former managing director of Faulu Microfinance Bank. And I love what Apollo is saying. He's saying that he's endorsing your book wholeheartedly after working with you closely in the banking sector in both Kenya and in Uganda for over 10 years. And he has admired your tenacity, ambition, and determination to serve with distinction across the region. And he says that you are a great leader who leads through influence, not kifua, and has made a significant impact in all work engagements. Joe knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. I'll leave that one at that. Your memories of Apollo, working with Apollo Njoroge in the region?
We worked together in Kenya in the same office. We moved to TZ together. to Uganda. Then
Uganda.
I met him in Uganda. He went to TZ.
Okay.
He's been a colleague in the industry, a very respectable banker, CEO.
Yes.
His endorsement is a very serious validation for me and for the book. I don't take it for granted. And there's a reason why he's saying what he's saying. He knows me personally, but he has also read the book. And he validates a lot of the things that I have shared there.
Yeah.
So getting that from somebody like Apollo is something that I don't take for granted.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's go to Dr. Bob Wekesa, Director of the African Center for the Study of the United States, University of Witwatersrand, South Africa, and a visiting professor at both Howard and the University of Southern California in the US. Dr. Bob Wekesa has this to say about you, and I like that he calls you comrade. So you'll tell us how he then calls you comrade and you're not in academia. Comrade Joseph IHA has penned a flowing and wide-ranging memoir with kernels of wisdom traversing lived experiences, the power of determination to overcome early impoverishment, the value of team spirit in scaling the corporate ladder, discipline in financial management, and the virtue of philanthropy in giving back to society. I am pleasantly surprised to belatedly learn about Joe's stoic struggles during childhood. So people didn't even know that you came from abject poverty. Interacting with Joe as my classmate at the University of Nairobi, I never for a moment imagined that he had surmounted so many challenges. This book is a must-read for young people looking for role models. I think they're in short supply. It is a tremendous resource for parents and guardians seeking inspiration in their own lives, as well as with those of their children and charges. Yeah. Let's speak about Dr. Bob Wekesa. How does he call you?
Dr. Bob Wekesa.
Yes.
A comrade in the University of Nairobi. We were in school together, graduated together. He pursued academia. He's based in South Africa, Witwatersrand University. He is actually the first person who read the manuscript of the book and endorsed it and said, please publish.
Yes.
Yeah, and that validation coming from him is quite profound.
Yes.
He's in the academia space. You know, sometimes you need somebody in that space to validate your work.
Yeah.
And I feel very honored by that endorsement. The stoicism that he's talking about, and the fact that I never showed any sign of poverty when I was in school, is the reaction I get with all my classmates and the people I interacted with. They never understood. And I mean, they never knew that I was going through the struggles that I was going through.
Yeah.
And it speaks to resilience. Yeah, you don't wear your problems on the face. Yeah, and a lot of people are going through problems they never talk about, and we assume. Yeah, that's why they say be kind, because you never know what somebody is going through. But also the other side is the spirit within you.
Yes.
Yeah, that despite the challenges you're going through, you have the determination to say, I will pull through.
Yes.
And somebody anonymous said, which I quoted in the book, that if your path takes you through, if your path takes you through hell,
yes,
walk as though you own the place.
I love that one.
It's an anonymous quote.
Oh my goodness, I love that one.
So it doesn't matter, because you have no control of the path life will take you.
Yes.
But even if it takes you through hell, walk in that hell, you know, with confidence, courage, determination, keep your head high, and eventually you will go past that hell. It's a fundamental lesson. So I think when he captures that, it's true. I never wore my problems on my face. I didn't look like my problems.
Meaning, even when you were in Nairobi school, people did not know what it took for you to come to Nairobi from the village with the school fee struggles and all. There was no sign.
Nobody understood, other than one teacher who took time to ask,
yes,
why are you here? And it's a mid-term.
Yes.
Then we got talking.
Yes.
And that was, I think I was in third year. That's the one I opened up to. The rest of the students,
yes,
we went through 4 years in high school.
Yes.
Nobody understood my struggles.
Yeah.
Because, when you focus on your problems too much, it limits your capabilities. I'm sure if I had opened up about my struggles and the way I'm a nobody, they would not have made me a deputy head of school. But because I appeared like a normal person,
yes,
attending classes and following, the culture, like a normal person.
Yes.
And showing attributes of leadership.
Yes.
Despite all those challenges.
Yeah.
I was made a deputy head of school of over 1,200 kids, some of them from very wealthy background, but I worked with them very well. And without showing. Yeah. So I think we all go through a lot of things. Sometimes we see people succeed and we think they had it easy.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's actually one of the reasons we say, let's share our story.
Yeah.
Because there are people who are going through similar challenges and they are seeing darkness.
Yes.
They think they are focusing so much on what they don't have.
Yes.
What they lack, the difficulties, the whatever, and losing sight on the potential that they have. Yeah, we must never lose sight of the potential and the goals we pursue, no matter the challenges and crucibles that life throws on us. And I think that's one of the lessons that we display in that book.
Yeah. Remind me who your headmaster was during your time in Nairobi school.
So we had 3 headmasters.
Whoa. Okay. Was it a turbulent time?
No, we moved there with SPM Kiungu. We did 1 year. He was promoted, I think, to a PS from a principal. Wow. Then another teacher was brought, Bashir, who stayed, I think, 1 year also. He was transferred. Then another Mr. Oduor came in. Okay. Who I left him there, but he was later transferred, I think, to another school. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so let's read another endorsement. This is from a very powerful source. You have to tell us how you know these people. Former Tanzanian ambassador to the United States of America and High Commissioner to the United Kingdom and current chair of the University of Dar es Salaam Council and chair of Rex Advocates Tanzania, Ambassador Mwanaidi Sinare Maajar. And she says on every page there is a lesson for those who want to improve their lives. Young and old can read and appreciate Joe's life lessons. He has brilliantly demonstrated that no matter what happens in your life, the difference is how you respond to your situation. E plus R is equals to O. Let's talk about that. Yeah.
Balozi Senare is a very respectable lady in Tanzania.
Yes.
Very authoritative, has had an illustrious career, a lawyer by her own right.
Yeah.
And she was the board chair for the second bank where I worked as a CEO. So she was my board chair.
Okay.
Very supportive lady, very focused, and getting her to read the book and give an endorsement was profoundly humbling for me. Yeah, so again, it talks to the stoicism of resilience and focusing And she's right, every chapter has a lesson.
Yes.
Yeah, because we have summarized the book in 12 chapters very intentionally. Every chapter has a critical takeaway lesson that the reader will get away with.
Yeah.
And eventually we hope to make a greater impact for many people. So I'm very happy to have gotten her to endorse the book.
Wow. I think this is another one. You also need to tell us where you get this kind of people from, because this is someone who is in strategic planning and performance management specialist, which is like a modern day job, which was not there, like 10 years ago. And this person is in charge of Africa and the Middle East. And they are a licensed polarity management consultant and trainer, and also founder of Balanced Scorecard East Africa, a management consultancy firm based in Kenya. That is Peter Ndaa. And Peter says that this book offers inspiration and practical wisdom for anyone looking to take control of their narrative and to reshape their life. And he says that you vividly illustrate how the way we choose to view and react to our circumstances, same as Balozi, can shape our destiny, that we are not prisoners of our upbringing or circumstances. Instead, we hold the key to our future through the mindset that we cultivate.
Mindset,
yes.
Yeah, so Peter Ndaa was actually one of my lecturers in some of the executive programs we did at Strathmore Business School. So my first interaction with him was in a class, and he was teaching change management.
Change management.
And transformation. He's an expert on performance management. He's a founder of Balanced Scorecard, a very respectable authority. So again, getting him to validate the book and the ideas we've shared there is quite a privilege. Yeah, it's quite a privilege. And then he talks to, I think what is capturing the mood is, and that's what I'm saying, majority of people growing in the Kenyan context, especially rural Kenya, rural Africa, in the continent, can resonate with the challenges that I went through. But that resilience and focus and determination and the lessons that I've learned and shared across there, if you adopt some of them and apply them in your life, then you can at least determine the kind of outcome you need.
Yes.
And as they say, success is you can if you learn what successful people do. You can become a success. They say success is predictable. That's what I want to say. Success is actually predictable. Watching somebody and the kind of things they do every day, their routine, the kind of association they have, the kind of thoughts, the kind of effort they carry to the workplace, to the business place, the passion, the energy. Watching them, you can determine whether somebody is working towards being successful or not. So I think that learning from other people is very critical. Benchmark, against the people that demonstrate the kind of life you want to lead, adopt their lifestyle, see the kind of things they do, the books they read, the journeys they go through, and apply them in your life. And there's no doubt that you will also turn successful. It's predictable.
I love that success is predictable. There is a formula. I want to read about Professor Abdullah Naji Said, PhD in animal science and chairman of the board of trustees, Umma University, and a former chair of Maseno University Council and Laikipia University Council. People really who are at the top of their game. Chairman Emeritus, Malindi Museum Society, and Director Emeritus, Malindi Education Development Association, so someone from your village. And I love that he took time to read. I'm hearing important people making time out to read. And Professor Naji says that reading through this book, one reads its author as a dreamer among the humblest, but with visions to be realized. And he says that this culminates in the well-deserved achievements in his self-declared position that he is what we chose for you as your hashtag, truly people made. He sailed through the traumas, which would have caused most young people to just give up. And he must have made up his mind that he must win and indeed come out a winner. This book is a must read for young people and the higher age clusters alike. The dividends of being people made are that there are multiplier effects to the learners. And let me finish here by saying that, Joe, you have a tribe. There are many other desperate, unwilling, or searching to be recruited, guided, and inspired. They are waiting for you and others like you. Your comments?
So Professor Naji is one of the role models among the early people from Malindi to embrace education.
Yeah.
And he has accomplished enormous things in his career in the academia. A respectable gentleman. We serve together in our board, one of the education institution boards in Malindi.
Yeah.
And I feel very honored for him to have accepted to read and endorse the book. He's actually one of the people who helped my education journey without him knowing. I was reminding him the other day.
Oh, wow.
Because you see, my MP would write notes to different people, to contribute.
Yes.
And I would get checks from Professor Naji.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't know me. He knew my sponsor.
Yes.
My guardian at that time.
Yeah.
So his validation also is very profound. And I think he resonates also with the journeys of many of the people growing up in Malindi.
Yes.
And my tribe, my community.
Yes.
And the struggles and the many who give up. I think that's what he's alluding in there.
Yes.
That we need to inspire and become a role model, which is aligned to my mission.
Yeah.
Actually, so I like Professor's endorsement.
Yeah. I think I cannot complete what Professor said without quoting Khalil, Professor Gibran Khalil, or some people call him Khalil Gibran Khalil, and he says that it sounds like you are his disciple, because Professor Gibran wrote, and I quote, "I prefer to be a dreamer among the humblest with visions to be realized than a lord among those without dreams and desires." Again, the ego conversation, He has said it all in that statement. I think we can't complete what Professor said without acknowledging the great people who've come before him. Professor Gibran, Professor Khalil, a Lebanese American author, poet, fine artist, and mentor in terms of humility and steadfastness.
It's a serious validation.
Yeah.
I don't take it for granted.
Maybe I take a risk here and ask you about Gen Zs, because if that is your tribe, how are you planning to navigate that?
Gen Zs, I have them in the house.
Oh.
I have Gen Zs in the house. And sometimes, one fact we need to understand with the generational gap is we are living in different times.
Yes.
Our way of doing things will never be their way of doing things. And our perception of things will never be their perception of things. We have to understand where they are coming from, because we know where we are coming from.
So where are they coming from?
We don't understand where they are coming, and we don't take time to understand. And I think that's where the conflict in most cases arises.
Yes.
Yeah, because You see, these are a generation that is born in the information age.
Digital
In
natives.
the digital age.
Yes.
They are digital natives.
Yes.
Information is commoditized.
Yes.
There is so much, the globalization is happening. There is influence all over the world. I keep on saying, for them, ours, when we were growing up, we lacked information.
Yes.
They have an overload of information. So how do we guide them to sieve the kind of information they are overloaded with,
yes,
and remain focused on their journeys
yes,
and the goals they want to achieve?
Uh-huh.
That is the guidance that has been lacking.
Uh-huh.
And I see it a lot with my children and their friends when we sit with them and we have conversations. Then you realize these guys belong to a different world.
Uh-huh.
But we need them
yes,
to align to our world to a certain extent.
Uh-huh.
Because there are certain values of life that never change. They are constant.
Yes.
But with what they are exposed to, how do we sell our vision so that it fits into their lives in the context they are living? And that's a serious conversation that needs to happen with Gen. But they are very appreciative also.
Yes.
When you talk to them and explain to them, these people are very smart. They are very sharp.
Savvy.
They are fast.
Yes.
In fact, theirs is not... when you're telling them something before you finish, they know where you will end up.
Wow.
Because they've watched it somewhere, they've seen it somewhere, they've followed somebody they've seen. So even before you finish, they know what you're going to say. Yeah. The only thing we need to give them, to sell to them, is the why. We haven't sold that why enough.
Okay.
On why we want them to do things in a certain way.
Yeah.
In a way that makes sense to them.
What about monetization of their knowledge? Are they able to do that, to monetize this avalanche of information?
See now, that's a conversation. That is a money conversation.
Yeah.
Now, that money conversation needs to happen on the table. Yeah. I talk of game-changing events in the book, in chapter 9.
Chapter 9.
When it comes to employment, self-employment, and business.
Yes.
There are many game-changing events that change the way things are done completely.
Yeah.
Do we know them as parents? For them, these changes are happening in their lifetime, and they're seeing it's real time. Yeah. How do we guide them? Yeah. So some of these game-changing events that are happening, globalization,
yes,
AI revolution, machine learning, and all these jargon that's coming up, how do we align them to fit into this new world? How are we teaching them? What are we teaching them in school? What are we telling them to come out and do? When they come out of school?
Yes.
What knowledge, with the knowledge we are giving them in school, will it be relevant when they come out in this digitized space and whatever? So there's a serious conversation that is not happening, that needs to be happening.
Yeah.
And the problem is the decision makers, the policy makers, and the gatekeepers is us.
Us who are Gen X's and baby boomers.
So you expect a conflict.
Oh, yes.
You expect a serious conflict.
Oh, my goodness. I never thought like that.
So we need a more serious conversation on how to manage these Gen Z. I see a lot of clips, people saying Gen Zs are unmanageable. They don't want to work 8 to 5 jobs.
Yes.
They don't want to. But who has told them about why they should be in an 8 to 5 job? And who says they must be in an 8 to 5 job?
Gig economy.
Who has exactly? So how can we equip them to leverage this changed economy and still thrive and make money and become successful and invest and retire, happy in the end?
So I'm hearing
it's a lot of conversation that should be happening. It's not happening.
Joe, that's your tribe.
Yeah.
Because you have just said it, that the people who are crafting the education system have no clue that in 4 years' time, the information might be irrelevant. And so even if they come out in the streets and say they are peaceful, it's because they've noticed something. Maybe the problem is how they're communicating the fact that it's what you're telling us is not relevant for our time.
Exactly.
Using old maps for new routes and new locations.
The world is changing faster than the policymakers can comprehend.
And so that's a big, huge, wide gap.
It's a huge, wide gap.
Yeah.
So if that conversation is not happening, because it's not, for sure, it's not happening in school. It's not happening in the education systems.
It's happening at dining tables.
Can we make it happen outside?
Yeah.
Whether in the dining tables or in the world out here. Because even in the workplace, they are struggling.
Yeah.
But they are struggling because there's a gap in between. Yeah, certain things, guidance that ought to have happened is not happening.
Yeah.
So they get to the job market, they end up depressed, frustrated,
yes.
drop out.
Yes.
And I've seen people, managers complaining of Gen Zs resigning without
after
a
1
job.
week.
Yeah, without a job.
Yes.
They are resigning and they don't know where they are going. It speaks to something that ought to be done that is not happening.
Yeah. It sounds like a story I had recently from a friend of mine. She's got children in that generation. And they sat the father down and they said, Dad, we want to talk to you because you were an MD all your life. You were successful. We are struggling. And I asked her, because she's my friend, what did you overhear in that conversation? She said, they're just not settled down at work because the authoritarian method of leadership in the workspace is not adding up for them because they can't ask questions. When they ask questions, they're just told, do what I've told you to do. In other words, there's no room for engagement. And so they're struggling to stay in a place of work because they're trying to copy what their father did. Their father stayed in work all his life in one place. And here they are already struggling and they've not yet broken through into the leadership, the real leadership positions where you enjoy the benefits and everything. They are somewhere down or in the middle and they're struggling. So I feel like, yes, there's a genuine disconnect. During COVID, there's this picture that was going round on social media. A picture of a man taken, just his pants and his shoes. And someone said, if your boss is wearing pants and shoes like this, you are in trouble. During COVID, you're expected to go to the office. How? They don't understand remote learning. They don't understand. Basically, yes, it's what you're saying. Joe, I feel like you have a lot of work. And I think this is when we're going to take a short break.
And you also learn a lot, by the way, from them. The reason why we don't give them a lot of time to listen to them is because in most cases we don't understand what they are saying. So it's a coping mechanism for the managers. Block them.
That is not leadership. When you're blocking, it means that you don't have the humility, like you said earlier, to listen to an opinion that is different from yours.
And learn.
Yes.
And in this changed economy, a lot of managers need to relearn a lot of the things they knew about management and leading.
The new literacy.
They have to relearn that. And we learn a lot. We learn a lot. We've shared there. The way we learn a lot from these Gen Zs here when we have conversations with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So learning then, it sounds like, has gone back to our traditional African way of oral literature where you sit at the table in the evening and you share conversations. It's first oral, but hopefully eventually it will go down into being written as this is what's working now.
Exactly.
That's what it sounds.
It needs to start now that there's a gap.
Yes.
If we appreciate there's a gap.
Yes.
It needs to start at the dining table. And then as we wait for policymakers to redesign the learning pathways to fit into the current context. But for that conversation also to happen at the dining table, it means the parents have to elevate themselves to a level where they can speak the language these people are speaking. So learning has to happen. There is no shortcut about it. Otherwise, there will be a conflict right from the home to the workplace.
Wow. How humbling it is that, you think you know everything, and then your child says something and you're thinking, I have something to learn. And
by the way, it's harder now.
Yes.
Because you cannot lie to them. Anything you tell them, they
Yes.
check with Google.
Imagine.
So you better be sure what you're telling them.
Imagine that.
Yeah, so in our generation, you could be managed with some falsehoods.
Because parents were the source of information.
Because the parents were the source of information.
Yeah.
So you could be called, like in the village, you could be told, don't enter a room when it's dark because you will encounter a ghost. Yeah, you tell a child nowadays, like they want to question what kind of ghosts live in darknesses and whatever.
Yes.
So everything you tell them, they counter-check with the teacher Google.
Yes.
Because Google is the universal teacher. So if, as parents, we don't elevate them to a level where we can have meaningful engagements and conversations with them, we lose them.
Yeah.
And it actually, especially teenagers, you can very easily, and I think many children, teenage children, don't have a relationship with their parents.
Oh.
The parent walks in, the child goes to the room. You have those cases.
Yes.
Because they are wondering, what kind of conversation am I going to have with these Zacks? It will just ruin my day. So you have to elevate yourself to a level consciously.
Yes.
That you can have meaningful conversation with that generation.
Is there a secret to doing that? That you can share now that you have 3 of them in the house?
It's learning. You learn every day. You listen to them. Understand their thinking.
Yes. Because
their thinking is also random. It's not random. It's not random.
Oh, it's not random.
No, their thinking is also not random. It's based on something they have watched, or something they have read, or something they have had a fellow Gen Z talk. So, for you to counter a certain narrative they have, you must have a convincing counter narrative. So you have to understand why they are saying what they are saying, where they are coming from, what references they could be referring to. Prepare yourself with a counter narrative that is convincing. So that then you get them to a level of saying, oh yeah, I didn't see it that way. Yeah, now I think this is the right way. But it has to be engaging and convincing, not talked down and orders. They don't work.
Wow.
These people don't take orders.
Yeah, I think I love what I'm hearing, that there's room for listening, and there's room for thinking through and listening to something different from what you're used to. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
You have to do that.
Yeah. Right. I think we take a short break, and today we're talking about family, we're talking about money, and we're talking about retirement. And these 3 things are intertwined. Today we are interviewing Joseph IHA, also known as Joe to his friends. And in this segment, we were dealing with, the testimonials and the endorsements of people who have read the book. And you can hear that some are such high-level people, but they find time to read. And what I love about this conversation we're having is that you have to be intentional and to decide and to choose to read, because success has a formula. A very humbling thing we've learned today is that there's a success formula. You can emulate, you can copy. It's not that hard anymore. Because we're having this conversation on retirement, I am proud to say that the sponsor of today's show is none other than a large organization. And this organization are in the area of real estate. And I'm sure in part 2 of this segment, we are going to talk about, what makes people successful, what makes people thrive. And you heard how Joe talked about location freedom. You can have a house in the country, and you can have a house in the city. You can also have another home in Nanyuki. You can, location freedom. That real estate, the reason why it's called real is because you can earn from it ad infinitum forever. And so today I have goodies with me. I have vouchers to give away. and more is coming from where this came from. The sponsors of this show, none other than Optiven Group. And if you do not know Optiven or had never heard of Optiven, maybe you know Dr. George Washiri, a man who is very passionate about real estate and a very good marketer. So Dr. George Washiri, CEO of Optiven Group, has offered some gift vouchers. If this conversation is making sense to you, and you know you're living in a rental and you are employed, and if things change tomorrow, you're going to panic, and your wife will not know 6 months later that the mortgage has not been paid. You know, those uncomfortable conversations, that's what we are talking about today. I have a voucher to give away today, and this is probably a place you go to. But this time, if you want to win this voucher, you have to make an intentional step of going to the Optiven Group. They have offices all over Kenya. Go look at a property that you can purchase. And I promise you, you are going to win this gift voucher. And this time when you take your kids out to GMC Place, which is in Nairobi, in the leafy suburban areas of Karen at the waterfront, you will have lunch with your family knowing that you have secured their tomorrow with or without that employment. So I have a voucher here, and I want to give it to somebody who is going to walk to Optiven, go walk in there, choose a property, pick a property, and when you purchase it, you can come look for me, and I promise you this gift voucher is yours. Why? Because I want you to be proud when you're having lunch here the next time, knowing that you have secured your children's lifestyle. The thing that people don't talk about enough is how children get affected when your sources of income shift. Sometimes we don't know that children notice everything. The truth is, you want to be sure that you're in charge of your finances in and out of season. So this voucher is yours. If you're asked where you learned this conversation from, the retirement conversation, my name is Joyce, the ghostwriter publisher and host of the show, The Bounce Back Channel, home to Bounce Back Books, where we write books that impact people's lives.